Welcome back, NASA Hunch teachers and students. My name is Miss Brittany Koger, and I'm going to be walking you through our investigation station for the different soil types and mediums that we can grow plants in for our lunar greenhouse project, or the plants in space, either one. This goes with both. You should have already watched the introduction to this project. The lunar greenhouse is we're going to be having a greenhouse on the moon, and it gives you the certain specs and how that's going to be. When we have our moon base, we want to be able to grow our own food and grow plants that would help us breathe and other things in space. So we've got to be looking at what soils we can use on the moon. This is very important because it costs $1.2 million per pound of material that goes to the moon. So it's very important that we have a lightweight material that we can grow plants in. So we had to think, and I had a discussion with my students. We pulled it up on the board. And I said, what do you think we could send to the moon to grow plants in? Something that would be lightweight, because we can't use the regolith of the moon. It's very sharp and jagged, and it's got different metals and minerals and stuff in it that doesn't really help with growth. We can't be sending up cups of dirt and pounds of dirt, because that would cost a lot. If you did our weight and measurement, the soil weight and measurement, you got to see how much just a little pot or cup of soil, of dirt, potting soil, all of these different mediums that we're testing today was in that station, and you should have weighed and measured those so you know how much they weigh. So is it feasible to send that up into space? Probably not. But this is just a scientific experiment to see what soils do plants grow best in. So I have some ryegrass seeds, and it is a grass that grows very quickly and rapidly. That's why I chose this. You could do beans, bean sprouts really quickly. You could do tomatoes if you are on the tomato sphere. If you've done that project, you could even try these different soils with those seeds that come from space. You can do whatever you have available to you. I know sunflowers grow very quickly, and grasses, chia seeds, things like that grow very quickly. And we're thinking about 30-day periods up there in space that we're going to be trial and error for growing our own food. So I chose ryegrass seed because it grows very rapidly. All right, so you're going to need several things other than seeds. I do have a big pitcher of water here because some of these materials are dry. I wanted you to see them dry. And then we're going to add water in the end. Plants have to have water to survive. Okay, water and sunlight. Light is very important. That's how they produce their own food. Plants are producers. They're the only producers out there in our food chains. And you can take a moment to go into food chains and food webs. It's a really good thing to go into with this project because we're talking about a producer and we're talking about how plants grow. So photosynthesis, the life cycle of a plant, all of that can be tied into this. And photosynthesis is when the plant takes in the sunlight in its leaves and it pulls in that sunlight and it turns it into sugars and food inside of the plant, and it produces its own food. And it's great that it does that. So the plant uses the sun. It doesn't have to eat anything else. It gets its energy from the sun. So that's very important to make sure. And artificial light in greenhouses is what we're going to be using. We do have indoor greenhouses where they have UV lights. We do have lights that represent the sun as well, grow lights and things like that. I don't have any of those grow lights available to show you, but they do have those. And that's what we would be using on the moon. But we're going to be looking at these different soils, and I'm just putting them in my windowsill here at school. And we're just going to be testing out these different soils. So you need your seeds, you need some water, because water is very important. And then I have a cup of potting soil. Potting soil is darker. You can buy a bag of that. And then this is just dirt from my house and right outside the school. Sand. We chose sand. These are the water gel beads. So you just put these little beads. They start out as a little itty bitty bead, and you just put them in water and they expand and they collect and keep water. So you have to keep water in it to keep them expanded, but they are pretty neat, and trust me, they will go all over your room. So be very careful with the water gel beads. We also just have a cup of water. See if they can grow in just water. It's very interesting to see if they can grow in water. I have a cup of cotton balls. I've seen many seeds get started in cotton balls. I have a cup of cut up sponge. I just went and bought some sponges at my Dollar Tree. And then I have a cup of shredded paper towels. So like paper or cardboard is another one. You could also use like coconut hulls and husk. I've seen people grow in that, pine straw. Whatever you think might be a lightweight material that you could grow seeds in is what we want you to use, okay? So there is no wrong answer here, but have different mediums that they can test out and try out and see how they work and see which ones work best. All right, so each one, I'm going to pull these three up here first. This is my dirt, potting soil, and sand. And I'm going to just poke a little hole in the middle with my finger. Just punch a little hole in there. Okay, sand's kind of hard to get a hole in. And then we're going to get just a little pinch, and I'm going to put a pinch in my dirt, and I'm going to cover it up. Pinch in my potting soil. I'm going to cover it up. A pinch in my sand. I'm going to cover it up. And you don't want them very deep, so I did just about my fingernail depth. And then you're going to need to water all of these at the end. I'm not going to water them yet. I'm going to water them all together at the end. So my dirt, my potting soil, and my sand. Now let's go to our water gel beads, which is going to be interesting to see these ones. I'm very interested. Kind of got to can't really poke a hole in those. All right, so I'm just going to do my best to push those down in there and cover them up. All right, interesting with the water. We can't really poke a hole, so I'm just going to do a little clump there in the water. You can kind of see a little floating clump there in my water. I'm very interested to see if they will even grow in just water. You would probably have to start them in something else and then put them in water. You could try that, putting them in a tissue or something and putting it on top of the water and letting it pull through. I know like avocados and potatoes, I think you can just put little toothpicks in the sides and have them just kind of in the water, and they will grow up from the water. All right, so I'm going to put some in the top of my cotton balls as well. So all of these have seeds in them. All right, same thing with my last two materials. So I've got 8 materials here that I'm testing. My sponges, putting them down in the sponge. They're kind of falling deep down in the sponge. And then in my paper towels, sponge, paper towels, covering them up. All right, now here is the moment of truth, is we're going to pour water in these. And mold is a big thing we got to think about on the moon, because mold is something that spreads rapidly. So we also have to take that into consideration when we are doing these different mediums to grow this stuff out of, is will it mold? All right, so those 3 have water in them. I'm not going to put water in my water cup because what's the point? My water gel beads already have water, but I'm going to add a little bit more water into them, which might make them grow a little bit more. I don't know. That might have been a bad idea. All right, my sand. Woo! Be careful, because the sand, it kind of uncovers your seeds. It pushed them up as it was absorbing that water. So make sure you cover those back up, but you want to water them. Get enough to get them started. All right. Cup of soil. Cup of dirt. All right, and I just covered them all with some water. Now, every single day, I'm going to come and I'm going to observe them. So make sure that your students have a ruler handy, because as soon as they start popping up and sprouting, we want to start measuring how tall that grass gets each day. All right, and remember, this is ryegrass. You could have done chia seeds or corn or beans or anything else that you wanted to grow. I would not suggest root vegetables with this, because roots have to go way down the soil. So I don't know how some of these mediums would react like with the root vegetables. So I chose to do a grass just because it's quick and easy. When I was a kid, we did chia pets, and you got to spread the chia seeds on a little porcelain animal or cartoon character, and it grew like hair. It looked like hair as it grew, the chia. So this rye seed ought to be very interesting. You got to keep it watered. In the slides, there is an investigation for each day. There's 2 days at a time. So you can do it every other day, or you can check it every day and enter in your information. Tell me what day it started popping up. Day 1, no change. Made sure that each cup was not dry. That's the thing, is you want to make sure that these stay damp and stay wet, because your plant is not going to grow if there is no water. And we will have water on the moon. And if you want to look into the recycling of water in space, that's really cool to look into. I didn't know that they recycled all their water, but it is really neat. So we're going to keep an eye on these for 30 days. And I'm going to put in my information every single day. So do some, investigating with your students. Get them excited about it. My students were excited. I gave them a job chart, and I had each one every day get to spray them or put water in them. So, make it fun for your students. Have as much fun with this as possible. Grow as many things as possible. I would love to see the tomato sphere done this way as well. I don't want to waste my tomato sphere seeds. I may send off for some more of these so I can do that later. But if you did not watch the tomato sphere video, you should watch that with Miss Flo. It is amazing and wonderful program. I love that they sent one of these to space. One of these packs of seeds went to space. I don't know which one, X or Y, but I'm going to plant them with my students this year, and we're going to see how they grow. So it's going to be very interesting. So go into the life cycles of plants, go into photosynthesis, our food web, food chains, how we get energy, how plants grow, what they need to grow, things like that are going to help you along with this project. Every single day, make sure you're checking your cups and watering them and entering in your information on slides or on your paper. And do your observations for 30 days. 30 days is what we want, okay, guys? I hope you guys have fun with this project. I've had a lot of fun with the Lunar Greenhouse and the plants in space. And I know my other mentor, Flo Gold, she has had a lot of fun with that as well. So I hope you guys have fun with this, and I will see you at a later station. Bye, guys. Keep exploring.